So welcome everyone to the Parkinson Foundation's Mindfulness Monday. For those of you who are joining us just for the first time, my name is Krista. I'm the Programs Manager with the Parkinson Foundation, and I manage our educational and empowerment activities in the state of Florida. So just before we get started with our session, a couple of notes. You can have a notepad and pen if you'd like to write things down, say how you feel. I always love to journal after I meditate. Feel free to use the chat function to communicate with your peers, care partners, people with Parkinson's, medical professionals, other professionals in the Parkinson's community. They are here and they are present, so feel free to share in the chat. Everyone will be muted for the duration of the session. It just helps us kind of avoid distractions while we meditate, so keep that in mind. I love seeing your faces across the world, across the nation. So if you are comfortable with and have the ability to join us on camera, please feel free to join us on camera. Our next live session in English will be next week, August 16th, and we'll be doing a guided imagery meditation by yours truly. And we're going to be talking about letting go. And then following that is our Spanish session, so keep that in mind. Again, we are asking for feedback for our session, so please, once we close here, Jennifer will put a link in the chat for you guys to open up when we're done, and you can give us some feedback. I think there are like 5 simple questions, and then certainly write comments into the little open space you can write into. I'd appreciate it. So here's our upcoming list of mindful meditations, letting go with me, and then the following one is our Spanish session, so make sure you tune into our YouTube channel to continue cultivating your mindful practice. And then August 30th is National Grief Awareness Day, so we're actually bringing back Dr. Maria Sirois, who is a positive psychologist. She's going to be talking about holding on and letting go. Beautiful. So I am ready to meditate. Dr. Rush, so glad that you are here today on this beautiful August day, welcoming in the end of summer, it feels like. So take us away. Thanks, Dr. Rush.
Thank you, Krista. So hi, everyone. It's so nice to see you all today. I'm a health psychologist at the Cleveland Clinic, for those of you who are new to the group. And part of my practice is very specific to working with those who have Parkinson's. And so I get to join you guys about once a month or so to talk about different components of mindfulness that I tend to use in my practice with my patients. And so I hope today will be helpful and you'll learn something a little bit new and different about mindfulness. So lately, I have noticed in some of my sessions with individuals that they're commenting on feeling somewhat of a lack of compassion. And I think after the past year and a half, many of us may be approaching something that looks like compassion fatigue, where there's just been so much going on and so many emotions that have gone up and down and in between that we're kind of sometimes numbing out a little bit. And it can sometimes feel that then detracts from our ability to be mindful or connect with others. And so I thought maybe today we could focus a little bit on a mindful compassion exercise. So I want to start by talking a little bit about what compassion means. And quite literally, the word compassion, it comes from the word compati from Latin. Pati means to suffer and com means with. So it truly means to suffer together. And I think sometimes people may confuse compassion with empathy. And empathy is basically our ability to take the perspective of someone else and understand what it is that they're feeling and almost viscerally feel it ourselves. But compassion takes it a step further, and it pairs that empathy with a desire to help someone, a desire to help with their suffering, to make a change to their circumstance, to help them improve. So compassion is something that tends to be quite complex in terms of emotions, because sometimes it means we feel happy, but sometimes it also means that we feel a sense of suffering with someone. So it can be a mixed bag in terms of how we feel compassion. And we know that experiencing compassion and exercising compassion towards others actually helps us a great deal in terms of our mental and physical well-being. And there have been extensive studies on the role of compassion and how it actually helps to alleviate negative emotions, depression, anxiety. Part of that's because it feels good to help others. It activates certain parts of our brain that releases dopamine and helps us to feel a sense of connectedness, a sense of happiness, of wellness. We also know that compassion can help our physical health. It tends to lower our stress response. It actually helps to lower cellular inflammation. There's so much out there now about inflammatory stress responses in our gut, in our nervous system, and we're getting better at identifying what it is that goes on in the body during those inflammation periods. And we actually have found that exercising compassion helps to lower some of that inflammation that helps us to gear towards better health. And it can also help heighten our ability to heal. It's been shown to increase longevity. So, there are a lot of physical benefits to compassion as well. And there's also this sense of heightened social connection that helps us not only to connect to others and feel like we're part of something greater than ourselves, but there's actually been research that shows that having a diminished social connection is a greater detriment to our health than obesity, smoking, and high blood pressure. Diminished social connection is a greater detriment to health than obesity, smoking, and high blood pressure, which I think is an incredibly profound statement, especially given the past year and a half and how social connection has not been terribly strong for many as a result of all the events in the world. And so recognizing the need for compassion, not only for our sense of well-being, but our ability to thrive, our ability to have the best health we possibly can, I think is incredibly important. So often when we start talking about compassion, there's kind of a divide in the literature. There's both, exercises for self-compassion, how can we be kind to ourselves, but then also external compassion, compassion towards others, people we know, people we don't know, the world at large. And so, today I really want to focus on that external compassion, the compassion that we gear towards others in the world, those that we like, and sometimes those that are kind of hard to like. And so when we try to practice compassion, there's one acronym that I really like that was put forth by Tara Brach, who you guys may have heard me talk about her in the past. She's a psychologist and a mindfulness teacher who's very well known, has written several books. And she talks about RAIN. So RAIN is an acronym that stands for how can we practice compassion in a moment where it's difficult to do so. So R stands for recognizing what's going on. So you kind of do a self-check-in. What am I feeling? What am I thinking? What am I doing? What is going on in this moment that is provoking some difficulty for me in exercising compassion or understanding about, what others or what I'm doing in this moment. A stands for allowing the experience to just be there, exactly as it is. So sometimes when we're feeling a sense of frustration or maybe anger towards someone because we don't understand why they did something that we wouldn't do, it's easy to then say, oh my gosh, why am I acting like such a jerk? Stop it. Why stop, being difficult. And we sometimes may admonish ourselves for having a strong emotional reaction. And so what she says is it's actually better just to let it be. Just notice what it is that you're experiencing without necessarily trying to change it, as we know is a big part of mindfulness. And then I stands for investigate with kindness. Investigate with kindness. And so one question she writes about asking yourself is, what in my body right now that I'm feeling physically, emotionally, wants the most attention? Is it a feeling of frustration? Is it a knot in my stomach? Is it that my shoulders are up by my ears? What is yelling the loudest at me right now in terms of my reaction? And then N stands for nurturing some of those feelings, some of those reactions with self-compassion, and trying to better understand what may be hurting physically, emotionally, what may feel wounded, what may feel fearful, and then offering some sort of gesture of care to help with that need. It might be in that moment, I really need to step back and take a couple of deep breaths because I feel myself really rising up into a sense of irritability where I'm not going to do very good perspective taking on the situation. Or, I haven't eaten for like 8 hours and perhaps my body is telling me that it's hungry and I need to go do something about that. And so nurturing yourself with a sense of self-compassion and saying, okay, there's something that I need to do in this moment. And maybe that will then help me to better help those that are around me. So RAIN, recognize what's going on, allow the experience to be there, investigate with kindness, and nurture with self-compassion. So a few other things that I will review with some of my patients is compassionate speaking and listening. And so with compassionate speaking, it basically means that we first pay attention to the space that we're coming from when we're talking to someone. Are we feeling open? Are we feeling safe? Are we feeling like we can trust that individual? Or are we feeling guarded? Are we feeling like, I might say some things that it's kind of a landmine. I don't know what this person is going to say in response. So you may feel a bit more defensive. And just recognizing if you're in an open state versus a more closed state. And that sometimes helps us to better control the conversation. It helps us to better understand where we're coming from and what our reactions may be in any given conversation so that we can then choose our words that are going to work for us best rather than just what may come out. And then compassionate listening, I really tell people this has more to do with how well you can actively listen, meaning not forming your rebuttal, and really listening not only with your mind and your ears, but your whole body, thinking about what body language you are putting towards that person. Are you sitting in a more open stance? Are you closed off? Are you making eye contact? Not in a creepy way, but enough eye contact where they know that you're listening, or are you kind of looking off to the side or down on the ground? Are you, having, any what we call connective gestures? So nodding, smiling, reacting. So in a way where they can use your body language to recognize that you are actually paying attention to that situation. So those are ways in which we can show our compassion and what words we choose, in our body language and how we sit, how we react. And then there's a piece where compassion, again, kind of involves us being able to identify with the other person, identify what it is that they're going through, what their suffering may be, even if we don't necessarily understand it. And one thing that I often will tell my patients is that I automatically assume going into a situation that the person I'm talking to, if our perspectives don't meet, there's probably a really, really good reason for why they do or say or feel the way that they are. I just may not know it yet. And so I kind of try to come into this realizing that we all have our convictions, we all have our ideas and perspectives and our prior experiences that feed into that. And my goal is just to best understand what that is in others. And so there's an exercise that I thought we could try today. That's a meditative exercise. And normally I like to create my own scripts, but this one I have to give credit to someone else for. So this is actually a compassion exercise called Just Like Me. And it's actually one that was written by Ram Dass. So for those of you know, he's a spiritual leader, psychologist. He was amazing. He passed away, I think, 2 years ago. And he's written prolifically on mindfulness and Eastern spiritual teachings. And he wrote this book called Walking Each Other Home in conjunction with Mirabai Bush. And it's about coming to terms with acceptance of death and dying, actually. But he has this exercise in there called Just Like Me. And it's a meditation practice in order to better understand those who, you know, may be coming from a very different perspective, or where you don't understand their motivations or their behaviors. So I want us to do this practice for a few minutes. So go ahead and get comfy in whatever chair you may be in today. And as usual, I just want you to start out by just getting in your body a little bit, feeling where you are. So where are your feet? Where are your hips? Where are your arms and your shoulders placed? Anchor to the rhythm of your breath. Allowing yourself to be here right now. Letting any other thoughts or to-do lists float right on by. And in your mind's eye, I want you to imagine that there is someone in front of you. And this may be someone that you're close to and you really like, or it may be someone who you sometimes find it very difficult to like. I just want you to imagine that that person is sitting in front of you and you are looking at them. And as I say each of the following statements, I want you to imagine that you are saying that statement to the person you are envisioning in front of you. This person is a human being, just like me. This person has a body and a mind, just like me. This person has feelings, emotions, and thoughts, just like me. This person has experienced physical and emotional pain, just like me. This person has felt unworthy or inadequate, just like me. This person worries and is frightened sometimes, just like me. This person is learning about life, just like me. This person wants to be caring and kind towards others, just like me. This person wishes to be free from pain and suffering, just like me. This person wishes to be safe and healthy, just like me. This person wishes to be loved, just like me. Now, I'm going to give an opportunity to allow for intentions, wishes for well-being to arrive. I wish this person to have strength, resources, and social support they need. I wish this person to be free from pain and suffering. I wish this person to be peaceful and happy. I wish this person to be loved because this person is a fellow human being just like me. You can sit for just a moment, continuing with your eyes closed, allowing yourself to anchor back to the breath. Noticing any difference you may see in the rhythm of your breathing, or how your body may have reacted to that exercise. And before coming back to more active awareness, we'll just take one nice deep breath here. And wiggling your fingers and toes. And opening your eyes when the time feels right. Okay. Shoulders loosened up. So, I really like this exercise, especially in some of those moments when I have trouble cultivating compassion for others. Like, someone cuts me off in traffic or skips ahead in line at the grocery store. There are those moments where you just start to feel that prickliness show up. And so practicing this in some of those times sometimes can be really helpful, especially if this person may have a very busy life, just like me. Sometimes they may not realize the needs of others, just like me. So doing what we can to humanize what we observe, I think can make a big difference in our own lives. And the optimist in me says it could make a difference with the world at large. So I will open it up to thoughts or questions that anybody has? How was this experience for you? Marcy says, the world would be a much better place if we all took the time to do this. Oh, Marcy, I wholeheartedly agree with you. We could all add a little bit more compassion to the world. So Linda asks, so how does this square with we are each unique? Ooh, that's a good one. So I think that it's important to recognize that even with our own unique path, our own idiosyncrasies, our own perspectives, that at our core, we are all human. That's what I love about that meditation, and that it all starts out that we start as human beings. And yes, we come in a whole range of models for sure. But the idea is that at its core, we all tend to experience the same universal emotions and the same wants in terms of connectedness or wanting to be loved, even if that takes some very different trajectories. So I think remembering that at the core, that we all are all human and can identify at least at that basic level helps us to then exercise compassion. And Felicia asked if we could write the prompt. So this is available online. If you Google just like me, Ram Dass, you will find it in probably 10,000 different blogs. And it is also in the book that I mentioned. Why did it just escape my mind? Walking Each Other Home. So definitely it is available online. Perhaps we could offer a link to that, perhaps. Charlie, Dr. Rush, how'd you get so smart? I think my kids would differ with you on that, Charlie. Oh, okay. Am I missing anything? Something I need to do with my husband when he comes home frustrated with people. Yes. I think we all have those moments of frustration and just wishing people would just do what we expect them to do or want them to do, even though we all have that whole free will thing. So that it can be tough to practice compassion in those moments when it's so divergent in terms of perspective or expectation. It certainly can help in terms of us tolerating some of that frustration a little better if we can also make room for compassion. Okay. Other thoughts?
Thank you so much, Dr. Rush. We appreciate your guidance today.
No problem at all. Thank you for having me.
I thank each of you for joining us again on your Mindful Monday tour, exploration, experience, all your questions and comments and smiles, frustrations, distractions. Appreciate each of you sharing in that space with us today. So before we close out, I will ask if you guys would just click on the link in the chat. Jennifer's going to drop for you to provide some feedback on our survey. This just allows Dr. Rush and I to refocus and bring to you meditations that matter most to you. If you're joining us for the first time today, just a little bit about the Parkinson's Foundation. So we improve the lives of people living with Parkinson's disease through our 3 pillars, which is to improve care for everyone with Parkinson's, advance research toward a cure, and empower and educate our global community. And you are participating in that one of those pillars by joining us each Monday. If you're interested in some more educational material about Parkinson's disease, each Wednesday we do host a virtual Wellness Wednesday. This Wednesday, we're doing a talk about DBS. DBS is deep brain stimulation that is available as a treatment option for people with Parkinson's disease. And again, here's our reminder for our upcoming Mindful Monday session. So next week, we'll be talking about letting it go, doing a guided imagery meditation. August 3rd is our Spanish mindful meditation. So make sure you tune into our YouTube channel to continue cultivating your mindful practice. And then August 30th, we are welcoming a guest speaker, Dr. Maria Sirois, who will be talking about holding on and letting go. August 30th is the National Day of Grief Awareness. So we want to make sure that we do kind of offer tools, suggestions, space for grief. So please do join us for that special event with Dr. Sirois. And if you're looking to get connected in your local area, your local chapter, you can reach out to our helpline at 1-800-4PD-INFO. It is a bilingual helpline, so keeping that in mind for our Spanish friends. Email is an option if that's most convenient to you, or you can visit our website at parkinson.org. I want to thank each of you for joining us on our mindful meditation today on compassion. And Dr. Rush, so much for your guidance through our meditation of compassion. So thank you so much, each of you. I will see you all next Monday. Thanks, Dr. Rush, and thank you. Bye, everyone.